Is your small business growing? That's the question we address right here on the Grow Your Biz Show. It's where we interview strategic entrepreneurs who inform and inspire you on your solopreneur or small company journey. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Grow Your Biz Show.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Grow Your Biz Show. I'm Paul Madsen, host of the program and founder of growmedia.com. growmedia.com helps small business owners to find their perfect sales pitch and to find their perfect market niche. Paul, that's what growmedia.com does. I can't shake your hand, but how about this one?
We'll go left.
Yeah, okay, good. Thanks for having us into the studio.
Yes, thank you for
studio,
being here.
The office, whatever we want to call this, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So thanks again for having us here at Bulu. We're going to learn all about you, all about the company, right after we thank the sponsor. ActionCoachOmaha.com is the global leader in business coaching for small businesses and businesses of all sizes. If you need to clarify your business and if you need to have some accountability in your business, contact Jim Barger at ActionCoachOmaha.com. And we're back with Paul Jarrett of Bulu, right here in downtown Lincoln, Nebraska.
Live audience.
Woo, we got a live audience today.
Hundreds of thousands of people.
Everybody, everywhere.
Millions at home watching.
They're just lined up to see this show, Paul.
Calm down, everybody.
This is the Paul Show, of course, Paul and Paul. So, yeah, Paul Jarrett is the co-founder and CEO of Bulu.
Yes, sir.
And like I said, we're going to learn a lot more about that organization. Paul, we'll dig into the nuts and bolts, but I want to ask right up front, what business are you in?
Yes. We build private label subscription box programs for large retail brands. So in a world of Amazon and everybody shifting to online, large brands, this is Crayola, so large brands like Crayola are trying to sell directly to customers and furthermore trying to sell on a subscription basis to customers.
Okay, cool.
So we help them do that.
Well, that's a service that most of us don't think about. So often
we didn't either, to be honest.
Well, you apparently have thought of it. I mean, so many people say, well, I'm going to buy something, I'll just go on Amazon and get XYZ. Yep. And you're saying that the manufacturer, the retailer, the distributor doesn't want to get left out.
Correct. So subscription boxes, they've actually been around for almost 100 years. And with these boxes, probably there was a renaissance about 2012. And the first couple boxes were makeup boxes. And we actually started our first box as a vitamin supplement healthy snack box called Bulu Box.
Okay.
And we started doing this. Large retail brands said, hey, what are you doing? You're essentially mailing people a package every month, you're making money off of it, and you're also getting customer data back.
Yeah.
And it took us way too long to figure out that we should offer this service to large brands.
But the nutritional space was the first thing you got into.
Yeah. So there were about 5 or 6 boxes. We were the first box with Bulu Box that was outside of makeup. And that was about 2012, and we could pop up one single ad anywhere and the orders would flood in. And, and those were, so blessing and a curse when things
you got to keep up with the orders. People buy something, you should have something to sell them, right? And how long before, well, I'm getting into the nuts and bolts ahead of it. So you're helping companies sell directly with the subscription box model. And again, that's something I don't think a lot of people think about.
No,
how did you think of this? How did you discover this? I thought I read somewhere that you were in the first 7 or 8 outfits that started doing prescription or subscription boxes.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty much pure genius.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it was absolutely not. There was no light bulb.
Your co-founder, right? Your wife.
There was no light bulb moment. There was no aha moment. It was probably the first 4 years of just slugging it out and trying to sell our own box, and then as the market
But how did you think of it as a business? I mean, it wasn't really out there.
Yeah, the original box?
Yeah, I mean...
oh, wow. So I actually helped a company called Complete Nutrition out of Omaha start as employee number 7.
Oh, boy.
And I was really, at the time, I didn't think that I was that far ahead of people online, and I was really interested in online and e-commerce.
Sure.
But the focus of that company was the franchisees and the physical bricks and mortar.
Bricks and mortar stores, right.
And so I was constantly curious about selling more online, and I actually left the company to go work for a startup in San Francisco.
Okay.
And one thing led to another, and my wife and I were in a half marathon. We received a bunch of samples at the end of the race.
Okay.
And I thought of Cabela's and the whole, they would give out lures for free, but charge for shipping and handling.
Interesting, yeah.
And I thought, Nebraska boy was thinking, well, maybe we can give samples for free and charge for shipping and handling, or we just give samples for free and we collect emails and sell that back to companies.
And that's a value add right there.
Yep, and somehow in the process figure out what the ROI was on a sample packet. Because that Complete Nutrition, all I knew was the more sample packets that I handed out of proteins, pre-workouts, vitamins, etc. The more samples meant more sales, but I didn't really have a...
More sales of boxes or more sales of the product?
This was more sales for Complete Nutrition.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
And so, we weren't really sure if it was like causation or correlation, but being able to do our own box and then see what the actual ROI was on sample packets, we helped really, really large brands understand the correct amount of money to put into sampling, and that was
interesting.
That was
that's
the
an art form.
beginning.
And they love it because they're getting their stuff in front of. But how do you decide what to put in a sample box? Because you have big data at that point about your customers. Or not?
we were guessing, and we made a lot of mistakes. I mean, I could BS you and say, oh, we did market research and we did this and that, but that's not really the truth because.
Well, I understand it.
You don't have time or money. And
especially in the startup mode.
Yeah.
And so you left. You did the other company in Omaha
I left Complete Nutrition
before you did Bulu.
Yeah. And
what did you learn there?
Yeah, I did know that sampling was the fastest way to get somebody to convert to your full size products.
Okay.
I did know a few key things that no matter what, people are into weight loss and fitness.
Always.
As much as as much as a lot of people like to think about, oh, I want to maintain my health or whatever, the vast majority of the business does come from working out and wanting to lose weight.
Sure.
And so, we launched and we did a lot of things right and a lot of things wrong. One of my favorite things that was just so silly, and it was like the marketing 101 failure, is we launched a vitamin and supplement box.
Okay.
And we didn't tell anybody what the benefit was. So we're just like, ta-da, here's this box, And as soon as we changed the messaging to, help live a healthier lifestyle, discover products to feel better, then almost overnight the sales started to change.
Okay.
But that was one of a million
Can't forget
mistakes.
the benefit. I mean, when I have people come on the show,
man.
Paul, I have, I'll have somebody come on and say, we are the XYZ of XYZ. And no, I want you to talk about what benefit you provide to the customers, because too often, they just think of themselves that way and they forget the end customer.
Yes.
Whereas it sounds like you learned that, maybe painfully, to get into that space. And
as a marketer, it was something that we always knew. Talk about the benefit, make sure and have a call to action.
Sure.
And frankly, it's embarrassing then when it's your own money or it's your own company and you forget to do those things.
Yeah.
And I will say, to this day, we still see, as awesome as our team is, I think just the speed at which we operate, we often forget a lot of times what's the benefit, what's the message, the blocking and tackling of marketing.
So what is the Bulu elevator speech?
Yeah, so
I guess you kind of told me that already.
What we say that we do is we build private label subscription boxes for large retail brands to sell directly to customers.
It helps those brands keep their customers.
Yep, and since it's a B2B audience, I think you can be a little bit looser on not being so direct with the benefit, because a lot of them are in innovation, a lot of them are in marketing.
Well, they have their own audience benefit package themselves.
I mean, ultimately, everybody in their position is sell more faster.
Sure.
And usually, we always say our job is not to sell people on the idea of doing a subscription box. Our job is to, if they decide to do a subscription box, let them know the options, and us being one of the premium options.
Well, I mean, it's a fantastic concept to keep people close to their customer.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. So I'm going to back up a little, Paul. Why are you in this business? I mean, this is kind of a hidden, behind the weeds bushes that nobody knows about. But why this business?
Yeah. Well, in the beginning, I'd like to, whenever there's entrepreneurs or people that are in the audience, I really work hard to kind of, I'll say, provide the truth told well and not a scary way, because I think if a lot of entrepreneurs and salespeople knew the gritty, honest truth, they'd run away.
Yeah, well, it's not easy being an entrepreneur, you know.
Yeah. But I will say in the beginning, and I'm not shy at all to say this, we saw an opportunity in a market and a niche to grow something and to hopefully have that company acquired. So the goal was to grow something and to sell it off.
Sure. Kind of the Silicon Valley mindset.
Exactly, exactly. And I think there's a lot of pros and cons with that, but I think one of the things that, you know, I wish I could go back and change was to not lose focus on the customer and to frankly, like, not, I call it like kick the can down the road. Ray Dalio has a great book called Principles, and he says, you know, business failures are nothing more than people kicking the can down the road, which basically he's saying, like, you're just procrastinating.
It's good,
and
good advice.
Yeah, the
good
more
advice.
you kind of kick it down the road, the worse it's going to be.
Sure.
And so I think for us, you know, we started to accept a little bit less quality of a product with Bulu Box, and then furthermore, we knew what we needed to raise and what we needed to spend in marketing, and we probably should have fought for that a little bit harder with investors. But the great thing is that we could take all of that knowledge and learning and go to these large brands like Crayola, Disney, BuzzFeed, and say, hey, we've seen all ends of the spectrum. We know exactly what it takes to create a successful program. You know, because we did it.
Well, and I think that's your answer you give me. Is I say, why? You say, well, because we can. You've learned the hard way how to get to that point, and you've learned a market niche, like I talk about, and now you say, well, why do it? Well, because it's a need, you know, and it's undiscovered, and people never really thought about it, but now look at where it's going.
Yeah, and embarrassingly enough, we had so many incoming emails from large brands like Walgreens and Walmart, and they were saying,
Crayola.
"Hey, tell us more about your subscription box." And you know, foolish me, I was kind of the mindset of, well, we're not going to talk to you because you probably just want to know how it's done.
Oh yeah, I'm going to steal. Yeah.
And then luckily we got some wiser people at our company that said, hey, we should probably, you know, follow through conversations with them, and you know, if we're open to it, let's talk about doing a
well, didn't you build a whole business model on that side of it?
And that's exactly what we did. Yeah.
You know, you took what you were doing and sold that knowledge out. And that became a separate company then,
exactly.
right?
Yep.
And then you got your exit then, is that right?
That, you know, it was a solid deal. It wasn't the, you know, the exit I think that people dream of, but you know, I think that's, again, like going back, I think that's a mistake to build something with the intention of selling it.
Yeah,
right?
I wonder if you're as committed.
Right, and I think the right way to do it is to build the business based on the goals that you wish to achieve.
Yeah,
right?
well, that's good.
And I think selling is just a little bit too vague and obscure, right? It should be broken down a little bit more metrics-wise.
Sure. Well, you're helping these brands is what it comes down to, the bottom line. Well, on that same vein, Paul, tell us what differentiates Bulu from all the other noise out there. I mean, you kind of helped invent the subscription box space, but what makes you different? What makes you unique? And tell us the Bulu story that way, please.
Yeah. So we have, I would say that we have kind of our list of differentiating factors, and I would say just like everybody, we have competition. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, of course, yeah. Just because you invented it doesn't mean it.
Right. You know, the three things that we say are unique to our business from kind of a characteristic trait. We break it down into characteristic traits and then proprietary kind of physical things that we do differently. And the three characteristics are we're the authorities in the industry. We're one of the very first. Nobody kind of pioneers or does what we do. So, you know, if you're looking for content, we have 7 years of helping start the Subscription Box Trade Association, Subscription Box Summit. So we're kind of in the thick of it. We also understand flexibility is key. So there's third-party logistics companies that will do pick and pack, but we got rid of all of our pick and pack, we got rid of all of our kitting, we focus solely on subscription box fulfillment. And you need to be flexible in order to do that.
And is your focus right now on helping those companies do that? Is that, or are you still doing the boxes themselves, or both? Right?
We'll do both, And then the last part that we really focus on is being proactive for our customers. So we never, our clients like Disney, we never want them to say, oh no, what are we going to do? We want to call them weeks in advance and say, hey, here's 3 things that could occur. Here's 3 options, usually good, fast, and cheap.
Okay.
So always stay one step ahead for a partner. So I'd say personality-wise, those are the 3 things. And then I'd say proprietary-wise, we do have our kind of own warehouse management system. We have our own.
You built that yourself?
Yes, we have our own software and client portals that we build custom for everybody. And then just the way that we configure our warehouse is completely different. So we have kind of 2 software touch points and then like a physical touch point. And I tell people nothing is, to us, and maybe it's because we've been doing it for years, nothing is rocket science. It's all been learned.
I was going to say, how did you learn this? I mean, it didn't really exist as an industry until you guys got into this space. How did you learn all this? I mean, how many black eyes and broken bones do you have?
A lot of broken bones.
Since I brought it up, tell us about the extra glove you're wearing today.
My co-founder was forcing me to pack boxes,
and
I just couldn't handle anymore, and my hand broke down. I broke my hand and my ego on an electric skateboard.
Skateboard? An e-skateboard. Okay.
So that's about
Did it want to go the way you didn't want it to go?
It stopped and I kept going. So,
and down you went?
Yep.
How many stitches?
I don't know.
Quite
I just saw it for the first time. There's a lot of stitches,
couple
a metal
of broken
plate,
bones in there,
a couple broken toes.
Oh,
so, compared to running a business, it's nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's all part of the day of walking the park. Yeah. Gotcha. So I was asking, how did you learn all this? How many broken bones did you get along the way doing that?
I think like most startups and most companies, they actually build a few different companies. And when I look back at our company, we actually built a Bulu Box subscription box company. We built a data company. We've actually built our own private label brands to sell vitamin supplements, et cetera, on Amazon. And this was just one of the things that we were sitting on. And I think so many times as an entrepreneur or as a business founder, or frankly, even in sales, you're looking externally for the answer. And I can never explain it to people better than this. It felt like for a couple of years that we were sitting on the answer, but I didn't know what it was.
Oh, well, yeah.
Right?
And the cusp of it, you're getting close. I can almost see it. I'm not sure what it looks like.
Yeah, or just sitting on it. Like, I don't, and it got to the point where it was just like, I know we've built multiple successful businesses or revenue streams, we'll call them, right? And I think it was a matter of choosing one, focusing on it, stopping a lot of the other revenue streams, or selling the company. And then I think for us, and I think every entrepreneur is different, but we really didn't have a firm grasp on cash flow. And a lot of people...
That's going to be hard in your business because you have a lot of inventory to manage.
Thank you for recognizing
I don't know how you do it.
Yep, we're shipping millions of boxes. There's tons of items in these. And once we got a team and that could really help us understand the risk and reward of purchasing, that totally changed everything. And I think for every entrepreneur, you tend to build these revenue streams, and then you're weak in an area. It might be finance, might be marketing, might be sales, might be tech. And I think if you don't decide one of those lanes to go down, and then really surround yourself with talented people, I think that's how entrepreneurs get stuck. And frankly, I think a lot of entrepreneurs or salespeople fall in love with the kind of
the idea,
with survival mode, or just like getting by. Like it's like, I just got to make this one more big sale. If I do this one thing, and there just has to be a time where you trust the system and you flip modes. I always call it like going from survive to thrive.
Gotcha.
And I think that's what happened with us. The smoke kind of cleared and the path.
Well, I wanted to ask you. You said something about the team and talent. I mean, at some point you. You're doing all this and you're getting close. You could see you just know that big thing's out there. At some point, do you bring in internet gurus who have done this somewhere else, similar things, and to get their input? I mean, how much of that did you do? Yeah,
I think that about 3 years ago, we did 2 things specifically that I give a lot of credit for. One was, I guess 3 things. One, we decided to focus on private label subscription boxes. That was the business. That's what we're going to do. Try to stop doing everything else. The second thing is we actually implemented a operating system called EOS Worldwide. I don't get paid for this, but it's EOSworldwide.com.
Gotcha.
Entrepreneurial operating system.
Interesting.
And I think what that taught me, specifically me, was how to trust people, and that we were over processing everything.
Oh.
So I think that's the, I always say
Over processing.
we picked what we were doing. We got an operating system in place, and then we got a team that was able to help us understand financially, kind of the money in, money out. And so I think those three elements, stronger finances, better trust and execution, and then picking one category.
And I know you're a pretty pure genius. I understand that, but at some point you got some help from other people like that to help you get that fine tuning going on.
I think if there ever is a genius to it, it's like understanding that you are not a genius and that you need a lot of help, and understanding what your unique ability is, and I believe that mine is kind of putting the right people in the right place for success. And when
that's important. I mean, and the show is for entrepreneurs, and if you're an entrepreneur or a wannabe entrepreneur listening, listen to what Paul is saying, because none of us can do. I go down this path with almost every guest. None of us can do everything. Some of us are good at marketing, some are finance, some are market picking, whatever the case. None of us, and you've built a team of people to help you. I think I've heard you say before, you brought in some financial help that really helped you fine tune things. And that, I mean, don't you agree that entrepreneurs, obviously you do, have to have the right people to do this? They have their strengths, but they have to bring in the other people that do this. Do you know Nate Watson up in Omaha?
No.
He's got a business intelligence company, and he was on the show, and he said, I don't know, I probably quoted him 10 times, 10 different shows. He says, if you're a sales guy, you have to get a tech person. So if you're a tech person, get a sales guy or woman, either one. And that boils it way down to what you're saying.
Hipster, hacker, hustler.
I love it. Hipster,
hipster, hacker, hustler.
That's a mouthful, but that's awesome. I love it. I'm going to maybe call this episode that, I think.
There you go.
Well, great. Take us back to the beginning, Paul. You were with a couple other emerging startup kind of companies, and you got the thought that, tell us about the thought, the day that you had, I can do this myself, we should do this. Tell us about that lightning bolt.
I still have days probably where I'm like, man, can I do this? Am I doing the right thing? Am I applying myself in the right area? So I think, overall, the lesson there is self-awareness has been just the most important thing for me, and I do believe most entrepreneurs and frankly people, self-awareness is the most important thing. The funny thing is, when we first started, it was after a half marathon. My wife and I were both like laid up, ice in our legs, and the running joke is kind of that it was the first time that we ever sat for like an hour, right? And I actually was Googling, I was searching for the idea, so somehow I ran into some makeup stuff, and I was actually searching for vitamin and supplement subscription box.
Really?
And it wasn't there. And like, how many times do you go to Google?
What made you think to search for that? What were you seeking for? You weren't seeking makeup.
Yeah, so I was really banged up, and I was looking for samples and just kind of like, tinkering around like, most people farting around on the internet, like going down rabbit holes. And I thought, wow, it's interesting that I have all of this experience in vitamins and supplements, yet I still don't know what to take. Oh, I wonder what I can go find online. Found the Birchbox thing for makeup and went, oh, I want that, but for vitamins and supplements.
Okay.
Searched it, it wasn't there. And then it just
how
turned,
often do you search?
and then it turned into this thing where I had to almost turn around and look at my wife and go, we need to build this. It wasn't even this thing of we can or we should. It was like, I know the market, I know everything will fit correctly. And then it was just a dead sprint. And I would say the fear that somebody else was going to do it was really the driving force, because just previous to that, we had came up with an idea and somebody executed it.
Oh, really?
And so we had to go take that idea back and put a bullet in it. And so this was kind of the second thing. So
So you found the absence of an idea that you filled that void. What I was going to say is, before we had smartphones, we never really thought, gee, I need a smartphone.
I know, right?
And I love that kind of thinking. And what entrepreneurs, what kind of void is there out there? What kind of gap can you fill? What advice would you have for a startup person, an entrepreneur, to try to find their niche, to try to fill that gap out there? there's a lot of good things thought of. I mean, who was it that said everything that's ever going to be invented has already been invented?
Yeah, right. Probably true.
Ago.
You can rearrange everything.
It's been tweaked, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm a corporate employee for whatever, X 20, 30 years, and I want to go out on my own, and how do I find my niche? How do I find what I'm looking for?
I think the most important thing that people miss a lot of times, and I think we kind of miss this, but it's understand yourself as a person and what you're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
Do you want to build $1 billion company? Do you want to build $1 million company? Do you just want to build like a freelance company? So I think that's crucial, right?
Right, the lifestyle versus the scalable.
Right, and depending on that answer, it will probably drive some of the thinking. So, one way to make a lot of money and to build a big business is to solve a headache.
Okay.
Right, and I always say it's those moments when people go, you're like opening Excel or something. You're like, those are to me.
That's good.
Yeah, like stop and listen. That's $1 billion idea that you're probably somebody's just going.
Interesting.
Right?
Interesting.
Now, if it's
like the fly on the wall with it flies on the wall, and the boss comes out of the office and says to the secretary, "This positively, absolutely has to be there overnight." Yeah. Well, guess what? That became a company.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And we all know FedEx and because of it. So, I love that. It's the moment. I don't know how to spell but.
And then I just think whatever size the company is, if it's a smaller company, you might be looking to provide an opportunity. You might just be looking to do something better, faster, cheaper. So I think start with your personal goal, and then that will kind of guide the thing that you need to do in order to get to that goal. And I do really like the idea of just solving headaches for people.
And you have how many employees now?
So we have the full-time equivalent at peak of over 200 people.
Wow. Okay.
So we have this office, and then we have a full warehouse of people packing boxes.
We got to wrap up here, Paul. It's a fascinating story. We could talk all day.
Yeah.
However, time is out. I wanted to wrap up with you a message to potential clients of yours that how can you help them get closer to their customer?
Yeah. I would say that it is any partner that is a multi-billion-dollar brand that's looking to get into customers' hands and to learn more data back, it's worth a 30-minute conversation with us because, if we can't do it, we can definitely get you to the right connections that can do it. We're not selling anything, we're just trying to find the connections for people.
Awesome. Paul Jarrett, Bulu, co-founder, and right here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Entrepreneurs, that's an inspirational story. I encourage you to learn more with Bulu.com, I assume?
BuluGroup.com.
BuluGroup.com, you bet, and check it out. And we will see you at the next episode of the Grow Your Biz Show. Until then, go out and grow something.